What's going on, everybody? It's Skylar at All Dogs, and Chad's here with me.
Hello.
Today we are going to be installing an Airflow Snorkel on the Xterra. New engine just went in it, or say new used engine, and we decided for the heck of it we'd buy a snorkel and install it for an install video for you guys, so we will be taking you along. First thing, we will be going over tools and what's in the kit, and then from there you will see us struggle to put this on.
Yeah.
Alright, so basic tools that you'll need, 10mm sockets and ratchets. You may need a 10mm wrench. You will need two different drill bits for the fenders for the bolts. The biggest piece you're going to need is a hole saw for where the snorkel goes through the fender. It's 3 to 3 1/8, whichever one you got, which one's easiest to find. You'll need a hammer and a punch to mark the bolt holes if you want to go that route. And then basically you'll need jack stand to get the vehicle off the ground, because you do have to take the wheel off and the wheel liner out. And then impact, or however you want to take the wheel off. Drill, shears to trim the boots, because these do come with rubber boots that may need trimmed. And then as for the actual kit, it comes with a diagram you cut out and tape to the fender, so you'll need some kind of tape. And then also you'll need thread lock for some studs. Comes with 4 studs that go into the snorkel body that you have to thread lock in before you install, and then also some kind of sealant for the tube from where it mounts into the fender into the actual tubing that goes up to the airbox. And from there, it's basically the only other tool I could think of would be a screwdriver, because there's random screws that need installed. But other than that, we will move on from here. So we got it up on jack stands, and we removed the wheel liner. So there will be 4 screws here. There's 3 that are vertical, 1 underneath the fender. There's 2 that are up here. And then there will be 4 along the bumper, 2 here, 2 here. And then depending on, some years have push clips up here in the corners and of varying spots. There may be 3 to 4, but this one, with it being old and with the previous owner probably moving it half a dozen times, if not more, the clips are gone. So we just have to remove all the screws. So now, yeah, we'll be moving on to put the template on the fender and get the holes ready to drill. Wow. Since we're kind of on a time crunch, we're just gonna drill some pilot holes where they go and then move it from there. So yeah. So now that we got the pilot holes drilled, we're just gonna knock out the big one first. So we got a Milwaukee 3-inch hole saw here, known as the hole dozer, ironically.
Hole dozer.
Yeah. So it says, the template says 3 1/8, so we do have a Dremel. Just in case it doesn't fit, we'll just make it a little bigger to make it The other holes that are not obviously the big one are going to be 10 mil or 3/8. Here goes nothing. Ready? You filming this? So now that we got the holes drilled, we're going to install these studs. I will actually show you where they go. So there'll be these top 3, and then this bottom spot is where they go. Just a simple drop of red anti-seize on them, and then thread them in my hand, and then let them set for a couple minutes. But you should be good to go after that. So we have the holes drilled. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't line up. That paper literally is a template. It even says that. We had to make the holes a little bigger. Once you do get everything to fit, clean up the edges. You can do it with something like this. You can use anything, basically, some heavy grit sandpaper. But once you have all the holes cleaned up, make sure to paint them. That way there's no bare metal and it won't rust later on.
We're doing this really quick and dirty, so if you wanted to take care while doing this, you could do a better job of taping. This is our shop Xterra, and it's going to see a lot of wheeling, so we don't have any reason to be especially kind or delicate to it. So we just did a little bit of tape so that we don't get oversprayed. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blast. So I've already blasted from the underside. I'm just going to blast over. All the bare metal areas will be covered in paint, and then we might spray it down with Cosmoline later on just for extra protection. But here we go.
So now the paint's dry, we are going to loosely install the snorkel. It does come with 2 regular bolts that mount to these holes here. We're going to put it on and then mark where the A-pillar mount goes, and then take it back off and then drill those holes. And we are actually going to rivet it on instead of using the clips it comes with, because for some reason they're square and you have to file the holes square, and that's just not what we want to do. So we're just going to drill holes and rivet it instead. So one thing we didn't notice right away, the lower part of the airbox that goes into the fender has a big oval piece. It has to be cut off to mate to the tube that comes with the snorkel. So we're going to take this out real quick and do that. So I started the process a little bit, but your mass airflow sensor connector comes off. There's sometimes it doesn't have it, but there's a little pin here and a clip that holds it here. And then also your front breather. If you have a 4x4, the breather mounts to the lower airbox. You take 8mm bolt loose here, and these are just push clips that hold it in. Take top off, and then remove the air filter. And then your airbox will consist of 3 screws. There's one up here, one here, and then this bottom one's really tricky. It works at best to have a flexi head wrench, but these are all 10mm, and once you take those 3 loose, everything will come out. And then this part, this square piece here is what needs to be cut off. So we will get that cut off, and then we'll just keep that lower box out for now until we get ready to put it back in and everything goes together. We have all the bolts bolted down on the inside of the fender as well as the A-pillar bracket. And as you can see, we have the tubing in and the elbow. This elbow is where you use your right stuff, put a good amount on that, and then push that thing in there. And then as you can see, this tube has hose clamps. And then from there, so this tube will mount to the elbow that comes into the fender. And then it will also mount onto this. You'll have to trim it just to make it fit. But once you have this trim to fit this, you can bolt everything back together. So we have the main part of the snorkel installed, and all we have left to do is put the intake, hood, whatever you want to call it, on. And then at that point, we'll put the wheel liner on and the tire, and we will be ready to roll. This thing needs exhaust so bad. So snorkel is all installed, ready to roll. Went pretty well. The top bolt on the top of the fender will give you trouble. That's going to be the biggest challenge of this at all, like out of the whole thing. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Took us 2 hours, but we took our time with it. So depending on your skill level of like mechanics, it'll be anywhere from 1 to, we'll say 3 hours. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. So that is it on this one, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching.